Go
Now,
ahead.
this is continuing about that ordinance group that we formed at the exit, at our graduation from ordinance school
Mm-hmm.
with Captain Caudell. And we knew it was going to be interesting, and knew it was going to be busy. We didn't know how interesting and how busy it was. Now, Jerry Dignam was in our group, and he was turned out to be one of my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And another guy, whose name I don't even remember now, was the son of one of the richest men in Philadelphia, and he was a real snob, and he didn't want to take any orders from me whatsoever. So we had that out, and I explained to him how many hours he would be spending in unattractive details until he decided to straighten up and rough, and he did.
Uh-huh.
He never got friendly, but he realized that I wasn't fooling.
Uh-huh.
And so now I've lost my,
So you
but-
go ahead.
go ahead.
Did you want me to sort of wrap up where we were and
No,
go forward?
no,
Okay.
no. And so then Captain Caudell's, our first assignment was down into the quartermaster base down there in,
Fenwick?
where?
Fenwick Island?
No, this was not yet. This was in just outside of Washington. Is a military base, and they were this was usually a temporary
Mm-hmm.
organization thing. The problem was we had to march in parades, and it was about this time that Eisenhower got elected, and they had to have a lot of military people going into the parades, and so they called us up and told us that we were to report for the. Well, hell, we hadn't been in a parade. I mean, we didn't know any more about marching. We knew nothing about it whatsoever. So we decided, well, gee, rather than, I mean, we like Eisenhower, rather than screw up his celebration, why don't we just sort of drift off and go to town and have a little fun? So that's what we did.
It's one way to justify it.
Well, anyway, I said, yeah, we're all gonna retire. What is the name of that place? Anyway, and so I told the guys all that, go down there where they could get some good drinks and so on, and don't go to the thing. So I countermanded the general's office. Anyway, I didn't get in trouble. And very shortly after that,
So this was the big naval base just on the other side of Washington.
you know, it's an army base.
Yeah, I know exactly where. What is it? It's right off 295. It's on the east side of Washington near Suitland Parkway.
Oh,
Huge
yeah.
base there.
That Fort Belvoir?
It's grown since I was there.
Oh, it sure has.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead. I know exactly. You're just across the river there, and so you elected not to go to the ceremonies and screw it up.
Well,
Or
it
March
was
or
more
be
fun going to town anyway.
Well, of course.
So when we went to Washington, we had a good time, let me tell you.
Mhm.
And Jerry Dignam was a real good friend. I had a number of good friends in here, so that wasn't any problem.
Was he from your ordnance group?
Yeah, this is all the ordnance group.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that wasn't really cooperative, he was cooperative once I kicked his butt.
Yeah, what's the?
But he did not like taking orders from a poor person.
Mm-hmm.
He was from a rich family, and he had escaped going to war. Now he wanted to escape.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into all of that, because now here we are as a group that's got all the expectations that it's going to be a good group and efficient one,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a research group.
Mm-hmm.
And little by little, this thing, we sat into meetings and so forth, and little by little, this was revealed to us what we were going to be doing. And it was, as you said, go to Fenwick Island. We had to we had to work with the RCATs, radio controlled aerial targets. These were small things, just about the length of that sofa that we're practicing with. It was going to end up with regular guided missiles
Bowling.
being controlled by the Army's equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it was doing what the Germans tried to do.
I'm familiar with it. Yep.
It would be achieving what the Germans had attempted to do with their fight on London.
Mm-hmm.
And but of course, what we were doing would be wherever it was needed. And the other thing was that everybody expected the Russians to go to war with the United States. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. Yep.
And so somebody had to provide ring security.
We're entering into the Cold War era now.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we had to pick up some of that work, which reduced the ability to do the research, but was necessary. And so we had that mixed in together. And sometimes we'd have only 2 people at the beach doing the research, and the rest of them were in there trying to keep the damn Germans the Russians from blasting Washington, D.C. off the map with atomic weapons.
Mm-hmm.
It was no.
Were you working the research mainly in the tracking systems, or in the sensor technologies, or in the radar or in the radar whip antenna?
Well, the tracking. It basically the beam
Mm-hmm.
encircled the target, and as it drifted to one side or the other, it would make.
You get into the side lobes.
Yeah.
Yep. And so.
You ended up, if you did it right, following straight out to that target, which would be an aircraft or something. And it was good work,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of fun. And we were held headquartered in an old German war camp, right there, right out near Fenwick Island.
Which I think I've told you, they've still saved some of the buildings from that. It's now a national park there,
Mhm.
commemorating the military work that was done there. And they have some of the early, they actually have there some early radar setups, some models of Marconi's arrays and things like that.
He's gonna have to
Yeah.
stop.